When people think of Shaquille O'Neal, the image that often comes to mind is a dominant force in the post, a guy who seemed to score every time he touched the ball down low, and there's no denying it. Shaq was the best post-up threat the game has ever seen. His ability to operate in the low post added more to his team's offense than anyone else's did. But there's more to Shaq's game than just those post-up points. Shaq was underrated in a few key areas, especially as a finisher and an offensive rebounder. He had this incredible knack for grabbing his misses and putting them back up, almost like a modern-day Moses Malone. And those signature alley-oops? They might not technically count as post-up points, but they were set up by the threat of his post game. His strength allowed him to carve out a deep post position, which forced defenses to collapse on him, creating space and opportunities for his teammates to thrive. It was evident that Shaq was a highly sought-after talent when he joined the NBA as the Orlando Magic's first overall selection in the 1992 draft.
With the first pick in the 1992 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic selects Shaquille O'Neal from Louisiana State University.
But the Shaq who entered the league was not the same Shaq who would eventually be a dominant force in Los Angeles. Shaq was more athletic, quicker, more nimble and leaner when he was younger. He had a slim, muscular build and the ability to handle the ball, even take it coast to coast if he felt like it. In many respects, he looked like a prime Giannis Antetokounmpo. Though he was still very much a traditional center who dominated the paint, this early version of Shaq showed flashes of versatility that made him even more of a threat on the court. In his rookie season, Shaquille O'Neal made an immediate impact, standing 7'1" and weighing around 300 pounds. He participated in 81 out of 82 games, averaging a stellar 23.4 points, 13.9 rebounds, 3.5 blocks, and 56.2% shooting from the field per game. Shaq quickly established himself as one of the league's top centers, and the Orlando Magic's record improved by 20 games as a result of his dominance over the previous campaign. His first season stands as one of the most memorable in NBA history because it was nothing short of legendary. Shaq was one of the league's most NBA-ready rookies at the tender age of 20. The following season, the Magic added the incredibly talented point guard Penny Hardaway to the roster, transforming them from a promising young team into a legitimate contender in the Eastern Conference. Shaq, still only 21 years old, led the Magic to a 50-32 record in his sophomore season, averaging 29.3 points, 13.2 rebounds, and 2.9 blocks per game on an impressive 59.9% shooting. He led the league in field goal percentage, ranked second in scoring and rebounding, and fourth in blocks. What makes these accomplishments even more remarkable is that Shaq did all of this in just his second season, competing against some of the greatest big men in NBA history. Shaq shocked Orlando by leaving for Los Angeles, where the real meat of his legacy would begin. It was during his early years under head coach Dale Harris, Shaq and the Lakers demonstrated potential as a club on the verge of contending for an NBA championship for 3 consecutive seasons. But it wasn't until Phil Jackson took control in Shaq's rookie year. Shaq won his only MVP award that year, putting up staggering averages of 29.7. That Shaq also finished second in the Defensive Player of the Year voting, behind only Alonzo Mourning. With this all-around effort, Shaq not only secured his first championship and Finals MVP in 2000, but he also embarked on arguably the greatest Finals MVP run in NBA history, rivaled only by Michael Jordan's streak from 1991 to 1993. During second title run, where he faced off against Dikembe Mutombo, that season's Defensive Player of the Year. If someone as defensively skilled as Mutombo couldn't contain, moved Shaq to the Miami Heat in 2004. Feeling it was time to build around their younger star, following a disastrous 2004 Finals exit, Shaq had lost some of his steps, but he was still a major player and a strong MVP candidate with rookie Dwyane Wade. The Heat had a stellar season, winning 59 games and finishing with the best record in the Eastern Conference. During that season, Shaq averaged 22.9 points, 10.4 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and 2.3 blocks per game, shooting an impressive 60.1% from the field. His impact was so substantial that he narrowly finished second in the MVP race to Steve Nash, separated by just 34 points, a result that's been the subject of much debate. Despite Nash winning the MVP, team in search of one last chance at another championship. Unfortunately, that additional opportunity in the finals never materialized. Because of Shaq's presence, the 4 other guys on the court often found themselves with more open looks, better driving lanes, and easier passes. These plays often flowed naturally into high-percentage dump-offs, alley-oops, and easy putbacks. Yet, there's a misconception about who Shaq was as a player. Some people people tend to remember him as just a throw the ball down low and he'll score every time type of guy, almost like reducing him to just a garbage man or a play finisher, which is crazy when you think about it. But let's be real, Shaq would probably prefer to be remembered as the dominant post-up scorer that he was, rather than just the guy who cleaned up around the rim. For a substantial portion of his career, he was arguably the best center in the league, earning MVP votes in 14 of those 19 seasons and making 15 All-Star selections. It seems that the criticisms about his work ethic and longevity may overlook just how extraordinary his career was. When you look at Shaq's accomplishments, they speak for themselves. He made 14 All-NBA teams, was named to 3 All-Defensive teams, and won 4 NBA championships. He was a 3-time Finals MVP, the 2000 NBA MVP, and the 1993 Rookie of the Year. Shaq also led the league in field goal percentage 10 times, more than any other player in NBA history. On the all-time scoring list, Shaq is currently in 8th place. He did have certain shortcomings despite having a stellar career, notable among them being his 52.7% career free throw shooting percentage. Shaq said that he made big free shots when they were needed, but the numbers indicate that his percentage didn't change throughout the game. Shaq rejected Rick Barry's offer to use a dishonest approach to assist him improve his free throw shooting because he thought it was too unconventional. If Shaq had shot a higher percentage from the free throw line, he might have cemented his status as the greatest player of all time. Too bad his pride prevented him from making the most of this opportunity. Nonetheless, Shaq is undeniably one of the greatest players ever, and alongside Michael Jordan and Bill Russell, he remains one of the most dominant finals performers the NBA has ever seen. What do you think? Was Shaq's prime as unstoppable as it seemed, or do you think the criticisms hold some weight? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.